Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things Parad with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And today I'm particularly excited simply because we're going to look into spirituality and the concept of oneness and unlocking the secrets of Vedanta. But before we jump into today's video,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, let's get into it.
It's a very blissful experience for me, Swamiji, to moderate this session. You are such a divine luminary who is soaring the spiritual skies on his golden wings. I thank you for being here today. Swamiji, if I have to ask you, what is the meaning of the word Vedant?
Well, Praveenji, thank you very much, first of all, for having me here. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be in this beautiful hall and historic hall, Bharat Bhavan. Now, back to your question. What is the meaning, precise meaning of the word Vedanta? If you look at the word Vedanta, it literally means Veda Anta, the end of the Vedas or the culmination of the Vedas. Technically, it means what is called the Siddhanta, the final conclusions or the highest teachings, the final teachings of the Vedas. A technical definition of Vedanta would be, Vedanta is the source of spiritual knowledge called Upanishads. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. The source of spiritual knowledge, which is the Upanishads. Those texts are called Vedanta. That's the meaning of the word. But let me give a little more expanded meaning. Swami Vivekananda, when he went to the West, and he went as a messenger of India, messenger of Hinduism, and a messenger of Vedanta there. So the way he conceived of and taught and spread Vedanta is taking the entire spiritual heritage of India, and that the whole thing, in his view, is Vedanta. And that is justified in a sense, because all our spiritual heritage, Sister Nivedita says, when Swami Vivekananda stood up to speak in Chicago in the World Parliament of Religions on September 11, 1893, behind him was 5,000 years of patient development in spirituality in India. So this 5,000 years or even more of history of our development of our thought, our culture, especially our spiritual culture, all of it taken together. The philosophies, the various schools of thought, the yogic practices, meditation practices, the rituals, the stories, the values, all of it together. Swami Vivekananda saw Vedanta in this global sense. Indian spirituality is Vedanta.
So as you said, Vedant literally means it is the end of the knowledge.
The highest knowledge or the final culmination. And not in the sense of an absence of knowledge, but the final culmination of all knowledge.
So you enter, from realm of knowledge to the realm of realization, a state which is beyond words. Is that a culmination of Vedanta?
Yes, state beyond words. Well, let me extend it a little further now. The Upanishads themselves are, of course, Vedanta. But then another aspect of Vedanta are the various schools of Vedanta which developed over various interpretations of Vedanta. Multiple interpretive traditions have developed over centuries and millennia. So, for example, right now we are celebrating the Ekatma, the oneness of all existence. And this is fundamentally based on Acharya Shankara's work. Now, he belongs to a lineage which goes back before him to his guru Govindapada, to his guru Gaudapada, and all the way back to the rishis of the Upanishads. But that particular interpretive tradition is called Advaitavada. So that's one school of Vedanta, where what you are saying is more precisely true, that there is a truth, there is a knowledge which takes us beyond just cognition, it takes us beyond language to an ultimate reality. So that's the way the Advaita Vedanta would be expressed. But there are other traditions also. I said Upanishads are the central texts of Vedanta. There's another text which is central to Vedanta, which is the Bhagavad Gita. If you, in the Vedantic tradition, if people ask, tell us one text which is most well known and most popular, most beloved, that would be the Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna draws upon the Upanishadic wisdom and teaches Arjuna. But there is a third text, a little more abstruse. This is called the Brahma Sutras, where there is philosophical consideration of the issues which have arisen in the Upanishads. And this Brahma Sutras, these have been commented upon by great masters. And those who wrote these authoritative commentaries on the Brahma Sutras, they are technically called Acharyas of Vedanta. So Shankaracharya, based on his commentary of the Brahma Sutras, on which Advaita Vedanta, the classical Advaita Vedanta stands. But there is also Ramanujacharya, Vishishta Advaitavada. Then there is Madhvacharya, Dvaitavada. There is Shuddhadvaitavada of Vallabhacharya. There is Nimbarkacharya, which is Dvaitadvaitavada. There is the Achintya Bheda Veda school of Vedanta. So Vedanta is all of these.
Swamiji, if you have to put, the philosophy of Vedanta in nutshell, in few words, not a very lengthy explanation, but in nutshell, if you have to put across to our audience here and to the world who would be watching these conversations later on, the Oneness dialogues, how would you put, the philosophy of Vedanta in nutshell?
I'm at an advantage here because Swami Vivekananda has done all the homework and groundwork for us. So he has put Vedanta, he said Vedanta is basically these two things. One is the divinity within us, and the second thing is the oneness of all existence. So our real nature is divine, and our means everybody, all of us, all human beings, all sentient beings. There is a divinity within us, our real nature. And this entire, this tremendous universe spread out before us, this extraordinary diversity, there is a oneness. Ultimately, there is an underlying oneness. This is Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda, this is Swami Vivekananda's words. Vedanta is the future religion of humanity. Why? Is it any problem with other religions? No. But the thing is, there are certain aspects of Vedanta which make it suitable, which I also see all the time. One aspect is rationality, logic. Whatever question you ask, there is some clear thinking about it, or at least some way of finding out a clear answer about it. At no point will you be told, maan lo, vishwas kar lo. No. So rationality, inquiry is the basis of Vedanta. That's one great advantage. In this day and age, when a day and age of scientific inquiry, skepticism, atheists. So I found that is one advantage of Vedanta. Another advantage is impersonal in nature. It's not saying that you have to believe it. Even Adi Shankaracharya himself, he is there, which is completely impersonal. At no point is he saying you have to worship me or I am the founder of your religion. Not at all. He's always happy to keep himself in the background. The importance, what is Shankaracharya called in the Himalayas? Bhagavan Bhashyakar, the great commentator, Lord commentator. It's a knowledge-based thing. He's transmitting knowledge to us. It's an impersonal system. However, it is not against personality. Vivekananda said it's an impersonal system with scope of any number of personalities. If you have a personality-based system, if X is my guru, X is my teacher, X is my avatar, X is my prophet, or whatever I call it, then it becomes against all other. Y, Z will now be excluded because only one personality I will catch hold of. But if you have an impersonal system of knowledge, an impersonal system of spirituality, limitless existence, consciousness place, then X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, jitne allow personality, as many avatars, as many prophets, as many masters, as many Buddhas, as many Jinas, you come, all are welcome. All are welcome. Easily you can accommodate everybody. That's another advantage of Vedanta. So again, Vedanta is based on harmony. Vedanta is based on harmony, not on rejecting others, but harmonizing different religions, harmonizing science and religion, harmonizing your secular life, so-called secular life and spiritual life. So this idea of harmony, which is very necessary for the world today. Multiple advantages are there, because of which I think Vedanta is the future philosophy and spirituality for humanity. People may not use the name. People may not use the name. They may be against using the name, but the idea will be there. That has come from Vedanta. Professor Jeffrey Long, he teaches Hinduism in Elizabethtown College in the United States. He told gave an example. He said, people in the US, many people have Hindu ideas, but they don't want to identify as Hindu. They will say, they will criticize Hinduism. They say Hinduism is 3C, caste, cow, and curry. Caste, cow, so they criticize. And he was talking with one lady, American lady, and she was saying, no, I am not Hindu, and she's saying many things, and finally she said, I have to go, it is time for my puja. So they may not, we also don't say that you have to accept the label. All right, the ideas will transform. The ideas are of, Swami Vivekananda said, first of all, we must equip ourselves with these ideas. We must have confidence in this, and to some extent at least realize these ideas in our life and in our society. Then we can confidently share it. Vivekananda's words, share it with other nations of the world for the benefit of the world. We have no desire for name and fame. It is for our benefit and for the benefit of the nation and benefit of the international community, benefit of future generations. So Vedanta is definitely the spirituality and philosophy of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, you guys, truly, truly amazing, fascinating. I can't even describe how many thoughts are going through my head. I don't know, where do I even start? Let's address maybe the last point. Cow, curry, and what was the third one? Something cost? Cost. You see, because I come from what you would understand as the Western world, but I lived in Slovakia, I lived in London for most of the parts. I've never and I'm just talking pure personal experience, and then he's talking about America. I think America is completely different kettle of fish. I've never seen this. Maybe because I always work international. I even had a person that I personally hired. It was a girl that was Indian. She was effing fabulous. One of the best hires ever. Literally, for my team, I had to hire number of I was a director. I had to hire a number of senior kind of account handlers, and it was a tough gig. I'm not gonna lie, what I had to do. I worked in advertising. It's a tough gig in general. You don't get to have a life at all. And whereas so there was 4 of the senior account managers, and I hired her, and there was a time of my life where I slept 4 hours a day. We're talking about a day. And I worked for the rest. No benefits of bonus, no nada. I just care about my team. I had a really big team. I needed to make sure that we all keep the jobs and, the client is happy. And I had a huge responsibility, multi-million pound worth of a client. And it was, whatever I did was very, very complex. It was not something that you can learn in a day or month or 3 months or 6 months. It's more of like a knowledge of a year at least, that you start building a good amount of knowledge in that. And whereas I had to be more present with the 3 senior account managers, I knew that, and this is when you are perhaps a shitty manager, but you know that some people are so strong that they can figure it out, and they don't have to, you don't have to be that present, because at that point my health was on the line, right? I remember one time she basically to get my time, and I had maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes to go and get some lunch and go back and just eat on the go really very much. And in order for her to gauge my time, she was like, can I walk with you, to get some lunch? But what I'm just trying to say that, incredibly capable woman, amazingly smart, loved her, so nice. And I've never heard anything about, any kind of, or maybe we've also personally never discussed these things, because I tend to look at people very much equally, per the concept of, we're all one, we're all connected. So if I do harm to one, it's like I'm doing harm onto myself. So that is kind of how I tend to think about stuff. And I haven't seen these things, so I don't know how they are present, but indeed what he was saying, it's quite fascinating. And with me having this channel, I'm discovering more and more things. It really does feel like maybe with this Swami Vivekananda, maybe I would wonder, and I would love to correlate that. I think I need to go and check it out myself. Like this personal health and growth development had happened, and I would almost start to bet my money on this. Like this was maybe the beginning parts of where you have these Andrew Carnegie's of this world, and the personal health and development started as a result of Swami Vivekananda bringing that Vedanta knowledge to the West. And then I guess people don't really, and especially in these days, don't like to be labeled, and especially when they perceive it has maybe some negative connotation. And I'm really sorry to hear that that's kind of what's happening. At least in London, in all my life, you can tell, you can, from my perspective as a single individual human, you can know that I haven't heard anything of that sort. Again, I don't know America, but I think we are taking those Eastern philosophies without really understanding, perhaps knowing what they are, and transforming them to our day of life, our way of life. And it's pretty fascinating. So I don't even think it matters as much what the label is, exactly what he said. And even if it's sometimes bits or it's not maybe fully explained, but as long as we are planting that seed of oneness, that we're all here, we're all connected. I personally do agree that this needs to be, the oneness concept needs to be something. I've always believed in that. I think that, I like to go to Avatar. I feel like that they beautifully kind of show there how everything is interconnected when they are showing the earth, and like how everything is interlinked like this. It's like one energy grid system that we are all part of. And, and this is why I find it hard to sometimes understand when there is, but again, like find it hard to understand, right? Like you have, we are all at a different stage of maybe spiritual or non-spiritual maturity, and it's okay. Like everything is okay because we all are one. Like you have to have good to have the bad, the other way around. You know what I mean? So, but to really understand that what you do really does, those emotions, those feelings, those words have meaning, impact others, and it causes like a chain reaction. It's super important. I feel like that the world really needs to start really deeply introspective. I wonder where this is going. Would love to know your point of view. From where I'm sitting, huge divides in the societies. I feel the societies became way too superficial, and everyone, like people would also like to save other people, but I feel like you need to be saved first to be able to help. Just like in an airplane, you have to put your seatbelt, quote unquote, first before you put on the baby. So first you need to save yourself to help. And how do we save ourselves? Like when we talk horribly to ourselves internally, it just all comes from, I think, within our self-thought, like how we were conditioned from the start, from the culture. So I think it all starts with us being kinder and more loving to ourselves. And so we are then kinder and loving to others, and we just only give out the positive energy, because there is enough negative. And I think for the sake of the world, it has to be, it's been built in that way. I don't think in a way it's necessarily good to condemn it in a way that you're just giving more energy to it so it grows. I think it's important within us to transmute the energy, become that kind person, become that loving person to your neighbor. And because you know that you and your neighbor are the same. And when he talks about the oneness, I think one thing that I spoke about this on the channel. I think I spoke about it on the comments, so I'm not too sure how everyone reads the comments, doesn't read the comments. Obviously, I respond to different people, but if you think about it from like a, let's say now a Christian angle, if I would add in the religion, you have a quote in the Bible. It says, "Resides in me and I reside in him." So when he was talking about the oneness, he was talking about divinity, that we're all divine. That basically quote, it's just saying, we're all connected, we're all one, we're all divine. We have that divine nature. And I guess it depends on us what we do with that, but we do influence one another. So let that influence be a positive one. Yeah, what did I want to say? There was something else. Oh, completely random. Is it possible to buy Upanishads in like are there books? I know that there's Rig Veda. Is it like if I would go in India into a shop, and I know that this is completely very random after my little speech. Is there like a shop where you are able to, let's say, buy a Rig Veda and these Upanishads that I could buy when I come to India? I would absolutely love to know and understand that. Yeah, I just love this talk, you guys. I think that it's perhaps a tricky one, and we live in a society and the world we live in. But let's start with us. Start with you looking at you and how you speak to yourself first. Are you kind? Are you loving? And if you're not, how does that translate into the world? Why are you saying things that you're saying? How can you be kinder? How can you go around internet and just spread positivity? That is, I think, the challenge. And I think almost, and as Indians, you might have that obligations because you're carrying that history, you're carrying that knowledge. Maybe not always consciously, but deeply in your DNA. And I think it would be really nice to see that from Indians, like even on the internet, like even like internet is an interesting place. You get like random people talking to you in a different way, being rude, being arrogant, what have you. But I would encourage, considering you guys have so much knowledge, and even if it's not yet known, I think it might be felt about, maybe leading the world in that way. There's so many of you. You can produce so much interesting content. You can show the way in acting. So I would love to see if you could show and lead the way also on the cyberspace and being just kind. Thank you guys so much for watching this video with me. If you did enjoy it, please give a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you next one. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending lots of peace and love.